You are listening to the Knightline Sports Network, brought to you by Travis Dever and the Dever team, 386-690-1636.
This is WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580, Orlando's news and talk.
Welcome to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Night Nation's only call-in show goes live now.
All right. Hello, Night Nation. Hello, Orlando. This is Andrew Phegley, and this is Knightline at Night. We're live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Bar Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, at 386-736-3000, or visit me at DeLand Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram, and I will take care of you, give you a special little discount if you tell me go Knights and charge on. We're taking your calls, 844-580-9326. If you want to call us, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature in the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley at AP_Knightline on Twitter. Got Big Ben Stout with me here at Big Social 32, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal, also on Twitter. And you can find all the rest of our content on nightlinesports.com and anywhere you can find podcasts. So we're talking UCF sports. Lots of stuff going on. Lots of sports going on. We got baseball, softball, golf, tennis. Who knows what else? There's probably something that I missed in there. Also got some recruiting action still going on in football. Spring football has, I think, ended with the spring game, and then we're waiting for the fall to come for actual fall camp or summer camp, and then fall football to happen. But there's all kinds of stuff always to talk about with that stuff. So Ben and Roger, welcome back. You weren't here with me last week. Joe and I had to do the show, so I'm glad you guys are here this week. It'll be a little easier. You guys both
did a great job.
Yeah, poor Joe. We just abandoned you guys.
Yeah. No, it turned out all right. It was a little different. We talked about the USFL at the beginning just because I didn't really have much to talk about. So one thing that I do want to get into right away is, Ben, I haven't talked to you on the air at least about the basketball situation. More transfers going out of the basketball team. I'm sure more coming in as well. I've kind of lost track at this point, to be honest with you, because so many people have transferred out. What is going on there, do you think? Or I don't know. Are we even going to have a team next year? This is what I'm wondering at this point.
Well, we're going to have a team next year, so Rest assured, Night Nation, we will have a UCF men's basketball team next season.
Who will be on it, though? That's the big question.
That being said, really, there's only a few guaranteed people as of now that are going to be on it, and that's essentially a core that consists of Darius Johnson, freshman point guard from this past season that had a really good bright spots, and you remember me saying that I thought he was going to be for sure leader going into the next season, and he's definitely going to have to be now, in my opinion. So we got Darius Johnson coming back, point guard. His father is still on the UCF basketball staff, so that's pretty solid that he's going to be around for hopefully many years to come. And you got Ty Freeman, you got CJ Walker, PJ Edwards. Honestly, those are the four for sure players coming back. So to say that this is a full-on rebuild is definitely true. I would be hesitant. I haven't been on the show for a few weeks, so a lot's gone down. And as you mentioned, a lot of players have transferred out. When we got kind of the first wave of transfers where guys like names are escaping me right now, but honestly,
we've already forgotten about them. Anyway.
It was prior to, well, yeah, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know, but it was really prior to Darren Green Jr. leaving. He,
Adams,
in my opinion, was the biggest hit. So you had players like Tony Johnson and Isaiah Adams. Jamil Reynolds is kind of dipping his toe in the water. He's basically he's transferred, or he's going to transfer without really making the announcement of transferring. So he's another guy. So you kind of have those two, marquee freshmen that came in 2 seasons ago, and Isaiah Adams and Jamil Reynolds out. And then obviously Tony Johnson came in with those guys, and a couple of players that hadn't played. One of them, Dre Fuller, was big deal too. But honestly, before Darren Green Jr. transferred, I was like, all right, so at least we have our leading scorer from last season. We have the guy that has improved dramatically throughout his time here. He's arguably, would have gone down as the best shooter probably ever. Well, statistically, record-wise, he probably would have had, all of the 3-point records. And so losing him there's no sugarcoating it. I mean, that's a big loss for our team, and not one that you could just kind of plug in and say, oh yeah, PJ Edwards, even though he didn't play last year, kind of redshirted, who's known to be a good shooter, can come in and just be our Darren Green Jr. replacement. Like, that's too much to put on a player like that. And so it'll be interesting to see where he goes. And I certainly wish him well, but it puts more pressure on somebody like Darius Johnson going into next year. It puts more pressure on not arguably at all, the highest rated recruit that UCF has ever had coming in Taylor Hendricks, coming in next season as a forward center from Fort Lauderdale, with his twin brother Tyler Hendricks coming in as well. So we got a couple of really good recruits coming in next year, but obviously it's resting square on their shoulders to come in and perform right away. And then of course, transfer portal, it gives it takes away and it gives back. This is kind of the new era where we notice it in football, yes, but remember, there's only 12 players on a basketball team, so you can really affect you if you lose some good players in the transfer portal, but you also can get better quick if you get some players back. And there was a guy in Michael Durr that played for USF 2 seasons ago as a freshman and sophomore year, transferred to Indiana, and it looks like he's going to make his way back to UCF. He's a center. He's a big body guy. I think he's highly skilled and somebody who can come in and get a lot of rebounds, really be a presence inside. Looks like he's going to make his way to UCF. And then also there's another player and a guard named Brandon Suggs, who is arguably ECU's top player this past season that gave us fits in a few games. Looking like he's going to make his way to UCF. We'll see. He hasn't announced his commitment yet. Michael Durr has. So we're going to plug in some players. Dawkins has done pretty well in the transfer portal in the past. I mean, arguably done very well. So
the thing is, I mean, you can do good in this transfer portal, but then the guys leave. They transfer again. I mean, a couple of these guys have already transferred once. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So now they're transferring again. They used their other transfer. I guess now everybody has a free transfer. So, I mean, are some of these guys going to have to sit out, or have they used all of their transfers? I don't understand how this is. It seems like with this transfer portal, just like NIL and everything else, there's not a lot of rules anymore.
Yeah, it's
with anything.
A very confusing time. So it's hard to be a fan of a certain team to understand like what's going on with a program when you see a lot of transfers, because I mean, you got players like, if you follow college basketball, you got teams like Texas Tech that made the Elite Eight this past season. That was like all transfers.
Yeah.
And ironically, Isaiah Adams, like that, they're on the short list for him, which is just crazy to see how he played this past season, that he could go to a school like Texas Tech,
and sit on the bench probably.
It's just wild to see. It's kind of hard as a college basketball fan to like truly adjust your like expectations and how you view your like the state of your program right now because of the transfer portal.
Well, that's the question that I have, to be honest with you. What is the state of our program, and why are all these guys leaving? I mean, what happened that all of the top players decided to leave? Why? I'd love to know. I mean, and I don't know if any of us have the answers. Obviously not. I mean, or I think we probably would have come up with that. But I guess the portal is, I mean, it's nothing new. It's always been going on, even more in basketball than football or anything else. It's just really become prominent recently. How big this transfer portal thing actually is, and how many players transfer, all around all the time. It's free agency in college sports at this point. I think they need to put I don't know. I just think they need to control it some way. I don't even know how we can even remember the names of half of these people when they transfer in and out as fast as they do, and we're getting ready to go to arguably the top basketball conference in the entire nation with zero stability, in my opinion. I also think that Johnny Dawkins, seat might be a little hot, and I think that this even like heats it up a little bit more, in my opinion, because he's got to make this transfer portal work. If this transfer portal doesn't work and he doesn't make some big moves here, last year was disappointing. This year is going to be way disappointing without all those people that we were counting on to be here. This is what
it's hard.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to quickly say it's hard to argue against his seat being high. He has a lot to prove going into this season. A UCF basketball program in general, and Johnny Dawkins being the leader of that program, has a lot to prove going into this season. I mean, at least half the fan base who's paying attention, did have higher expectations to the way that these players in this team performed last season. We were looking to make the postseason and didn't make the postseason. And while we had some injuries towards the second half of the year, for the most part, overall, our top players stayed generally healthy enough to play in games. Right. I agree that Johnny Dawkins has a lot to prove going into this next season. And so he has to hit on a few of these transfers coming in that are not only highly skilled basketball players, but kind of fit to what Dawkins wants to do on the basketball court. And he's always going to be a heavily defensive, fundamental team defensive guys. And you're going to have guys with mentalities in order to carry that through for 40 minutes. And hindsight is 2020, but looking back on this past season, we did not have those type of guys that had the mental fortitude to really play the type of basketball that Dawkins wants to do for 40 minutes. And so hopefully he can plug these holes, because we had a lot of them right now, and kind of rebuild this team in his image, because he needs to at this point with maybe our last season in the American Conference, and we need to have some sort of momentum going into the Big 12.
Yeah, this is scary stuff as far as I'm concerned. As far as the national champion is in the conference that we're going to, and some other teams that were,
the last two national champions, actually, right. Baylor and Kansas.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be the laughing stock if we don't get this stuff together really quick. And we don't want to be the laughing stock of any conference our first year in it at all, period.
Especially with two marquee programs like football and basketball, they kind of drive the ship. So we definitely need to step it up in the men's basketball team going into next season.
Yeah, this is a really big deal, and we're going to continue to talk about this after the break that we're about to take. we gotta get to the bottom of something, and hopefully we hear something. I know it's a long time until basketball starts again, but we're going to take a break here. We'll be right back on Knightline at Night, continuing to wonder if we're going to have a men's basketball team. We may not have a women's either. Who knows?
An auto accident can change your life forever. At Chadbar Law, we are raising the bar on what to expect from your personal injury attorney. Hi, I'm Chad Barr, and I want you to know that our entire team is dedicated to providing you with the representation you deserve in your greatest time of need. If you or a loved one have been injured in an auto accident, call 407-599-9036 for a free consultation or visit chadbarlaw.com. At Chadbar Law, our clients come to us in need and leave as family. Offices, Altamont Springs.
Hey, this is Travis Dever, Kai's Real Estate, the Dever team, New Smyrna Beach. Your source for real estate and everything else, New Smyrna Beach. Proud sponsor of Knightline. Call me anytime at 386-690-1636. That's 386-690-1636. Let me show you my hometown, New Smyrna Beach, UCF's favorite beach. Go Knights and charge on.
Looking for more out of your Porsche? Look no further than Flat6Motorsports.com. They have the widest selection of aftermarket Porsche parts anywhere in the world. With over 85 product lines and in-depth expertise, Flat6Motorsports.com is your one-stop shop for any Porsche performance needs. Whether you're shopping for intakes, exhausts, suspension, or tuning, they have you covered. Flat6Motorsports.com is the premier Porsche aftermarket specialist. Check them out at Flat6Motorsports.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, back on Knightline at Night with y'all. Taking your calls, 844-580-9326, like it said, but live from the Dever Team Studios and brought to you by Chadbar Law. That's the real thing I wanted to say. I don't know what I was thinking reading the other, but whatever. It's all good. I do that from time to time. Wanted to get into a little bit. We talked about basketball at the first segment there. We want to get into a little bit of the scoreboard with the rest of the stuff that's going on, and Roger didn't get to talk at all in the first segment. So Roger, go ahead and take it away. Tell us what's going on in the other sports that are actually going on right now.
Well, let's start with softball, one of our more successful teams, or most successful team in this spring. They unfortunately dropped a loss to Houston today in the last out. It was a tough battle, 9-8. They were playing at Houston, and they had a runner on first base. Came inches to hitting a home run on the last out. So unfortunately they dropped that. That was our first loss. In 12 games, they were 11-1 in conference now, which is, phenomenal by far in first place. They're 39-11 overall, which means that ever important 40th win for ranking for the postseason is just a doorstep away. Jada Cody was phenomenal as always. Gianna Mancha on the plate when she was throwing to the plate was phenomenal, as was Woodall. So both of them threw complete games. Our pitching has been phenomenal all season long. Unfortunately, this last game, we just, for whatever reason, Houston's bats got hot and they were able to pull out the win. But phenomenal performance by our team. That was the first loss in conference as they head in back home for our next series. So they're going to be playing Tulsa. Actually, they're going to Tulsa, which is going to be tough. We always have a tough time at Tulsa in all sports, but softball especially. Tulsa's always got a tough team. And the real interesting series is going to be at Wichita State, which is on May 6th. Wichita State has one of the best offenses in the country. And, that will be telling and our last opportunity from an RPI perspective to really get set up before the tournament for ranking for the postseason in the regional. So this team has an opportunity to try to host a super regional, depending on how this shakes out over the next couple of weeks. I fully expect them to win the American Athletic title. And for sure, they're going to be winning the season title. So I'm excited about this team, and they're doing a great job. It was a tough loss today. And then baseball. We've we've maligned baseball quite a bit on the show and everywhere else. They're still 24-16, so believe it or not. And they are, as of today, in first place in the American. They're 8-4 in conference. They swept the Wichita State Shockers this game. Their bats were really, really hot. Our pitching, again, has a lot of holes in it because we've got Connor Stain that was out, that was nursing a hand injury. We lost our Saturday guy. I can't remember his name for some reason now, but we lost him for the season, unfortunately. And so our pitching has a lot of holes. So what you're seeing is a lot of mix and matching with our pitching. And we actually played our Friday night guy in this game today against Wichita State. We started him again. So that tells you how weak our starting pitching is. And that doesn't bode well, really, as we go into the tournament. But this team's still alive. Recorded a sweep at Wichita State, which we haven't, like Tulsa. Wichita State's been a tough out for us. So I'm excited about that, and the bats are coming alive. And one name to watch for a possible freshman All-American is Mr. Sunday. He is 6'4" catcher, freshman. He was batting .530. He's down to .465, I know, right now. But he's been a tough out for everyone, and really a bright spot for this team. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Very good job there with that stuff. I know there's some other stuff. We'll talk about that coming up after the break here, right back on Knightline at Night. If you haven't figured it out yet, I love Tijuana Flats. I would love them even if they weren't a partner with us on the Knightline Sports Network. They have all kinds of great Tex-Mex food, and it's fresh, by the way. Made to order burritos, tacos, enchiladas, chimichangas, quesadillas, bowls, nachos, and taco salads. And if you haven't tried the queso, you are completely missing out. It is the best queso that I've ever had in my life. Absolutely hands down. And the sauce bar that they have, everything from wild to mild in there. Absolutely awesome, awesome stuff. Not only do I love the food at Tijuana Flats, but I love the company, a UCF-born company. And they give back to the community with the Justin Queso Foundation. So head to your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. Hey Jeep Wrangler owners, have you ever sat in your office at work and watched the rain just pour into your Jeep because the weatherman said that there was a 0 chance of rain? Or you put your doors back on because there was a 100% chance and then not a drop of rain fell? Well, there's a company out there that can help take the worry away and give you the peace of mind to be without your doors. The company's called Life Without Doors. They make waterproof rain curtains and dash covers for Wranglers. Life Without Doors is there to help make the decision to leave the doors at home an easy one. Find out more at lifewithoutdoors.com.
Spice up your company with homemade marketing services from Tasty Gravy Creative. Tasty Gravy serves up a menu of budget-friendly marketing, graphic design, and public relations services customized to your specific goals. Co-owned by a UCF graduate, Tasty Gravy can help refresh your brand, strengthen your online presence, or reinforce your company's message. Contact Tasty Gravy for help with your website, social media, marketing, advertising materials, and more. Visit tastygravy.com.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, Andrew Phegley back here on Knightline at Night with you, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barr Law, assisting injured veterans get the help they deserve. Give Chad a call, 407-599-9036, or visit protectingvets.com. You can also call Travis Dever for all your New Smyrna Beach real estate needs, 386-690-1636. And if you need a new or used car, truck, or Jeep, you can call me, Andrew Phegley, 386-736-3000, 386-736-3000, or you can come and visit me at DeLand Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, and I will hook you up with a special discount if you tell me go Knights and charge on, and I will help you find whatever you need. We're taking your calls, though, 844-580-9326, 844-580-9326, or you can use the open mic feature on the WDBO app. Once again, I'm Andrew Phegley, AP_Knightline on Twitter. I got Big Ben Stout with me here at Big Social 32 on Twitter, and Roger Phipps at Night Bengal on Twitter. You can find all the rest of our content on NightlineSports.com. We're talking UCF sports. We've talked basketball. We've talked softball. We've talked baseball. Now, I think probably it's about time to talk some football. How about that?
Woohoo!
So yeah, I know that's the thing that we're all looking forward to coming into the summer and then the fall, spring football. Like, what's the word I'm looking for? Finished up basically with the spring game. Was it last weekend? I'm losing track of time.
It was the 16th. It was the last weekend.
It was last weekend. Yeah. I was not able to go. I don't think any of us were able to go, but we heard lots of things, heard lots of media type things with that. It sounds like our quarterbacks are looking good, which is, I don't know about that. I'm a little bit, I don't know where I am rooting 100% for Mikey Keene to win that job. But if John Rice Plumlee does it as well, you know, I mean, it's good for all of us, I guess. So what have you guys heard? What do you want to talk about with that? We've also got some recruiting news in football because that's still going on. Transfer portal stuff is still going on. And, you know, incoming freshman recruiting is still going on with that as well.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the quarterback situation, I think everybody feels a whole heck of a lot better about John Reese Plumlee's ability to pass. That was the big question mark coming into the season. He had been converted last season and did not play quarterback, but seems to have displayed a pretty strong arm and the ability to be mobile. You know, when you think about Gus's offense, having they've been playing in the spring with a two-back set, which we didn't really have too much of last season in favor of doing sweeps and things like that with Ryan O'Keefe or other players. If you get a two-back set back there with someone like John Reese Plumlee and his ability to run, that's a dangerous weapon for Gus to play with. So, you know, with Mikey Keene played well. He had the one interception there at the end in a similar but not the same passing situation as Dylan had at Louisville. But at the end of the day, I mean, both players played well. It just seems like, you know, if you're comparing the two, if John Reese Plumlee can pass like he did and showed at the spring game, you know, that adds another wrinkle or dynamic that Mikey Keene may not be able to overcome.
All right. You know, I have to correct you because this drives me crazy. Things like this. It's John Rice. Like yeah.
John Rice, yep.
Yeah. So it's, I know it's spelled weird, but it's Rice because he says it like that. But anyway, that just, you know, I have to call you out on something. You know,
Go right ahead.
It wouldn't be normal if I didn't correct somebody at something. So anyway, yeah, Ben, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think both quarterbacks represented themselves well and showed that they, you know, they'll bring something while between the two of them slightly different to the offense. They both can provide something very exciting to this offense, and Gus has a lot of confidence in both of them. I think, and Gus said it after the game, you know, Mikey Keene is a veteran now. he's somebody who's kind of taking control of taking a leadership position on the field. I do feel that Mikey Keene is firmly in the driver's seat to be kind of the main quarterback, the starting quarterback. But also after the spring game, I think there's no doubt that John Rice Plumlee is going to be heavily involved in this offense. I won't go so far to say that like he'll take it, multiple series or they'll alternate series. I feel like John Rice Plumlee is going to be worked in very well into this offense because he's just kind of too dynamic of a player to, just be sitting on the sideline waiting for his turn behind Mikey Keene. So I think that's exciting because the creativity of Gus Malzahn will really shine through. And I think that he sees in both of those players the ability to display that creativity. But, to focus on another group really quickly, it's kind of awesome to me to just see how much depth we have at running back in particular. Mm-hmm. And the freshman Jordan Mcdonald is a beast. That dude is big.
He's massive.
And he certainly seems like the type of back that Gus Malzahn really gravitates towards, obviously, since Isaiah Bowser is such a great player in the offense last year when he's healthy. So, man, if Isaiah Bowser can stay healthy, he's going to have such a phenomenal year next year. But with Johnny Richardson and Mark Anthony Richards and RJ Harvey coming back, Jordan McDonald. I mean, it's just, we got kind of an embarrassment of riches there at running back. And so I'm very curious to see what he's going to be able to do with that kind of stable of backs that we have. I mean, maybe Jordan McDonald doesn't even play this year. Maybe he redshirts, but I think he's the future there, kind of the guy in waiting once Isaiah Bowser has to actually, graduate and move on from UCF. I think Jordan McDonald is kind of the future at that running back position. That dude's a big guy.
Yeah, and we've all been so excited to have Isaiah Bowser. I mean, from the very beginning of even hearing that he was coming here, when he was getting ready to transfer here, I mean, just knowing of his size and the way that he, controls himself and all that, I was just, over the top excited about that. And then to see this Jordan McDonald kid next to him, and both of them being about the same size. Jordan McDonald, I think, is probably a little bit bigger. So if he can run anything like Bowser does when Bowser is healthy, man, that's going to be awesome. You want to have at least one of those guys being a big bruiser guy. And you saw what that did for us last year. It's been years since we had a big bruiser back there. And that's extremely exciting. The other thing is that wide receivers, Kobe Hudson came in and came from Auburn. He was their top wide receiver, came in here seamlessly, it looked like, and really has kind of, with O'Keefe taking over that wide receiver room so much that Jalen Robinson went into the transfer portal and is gone, basically, who was our one of our top wide receivers, not the same as those two other guys, a small guy, but everybody called him Flash because he was so fast and, didn't play most of the year last year because of injury, but obviously came back from that injury, had 3 catches for 126 yards, and then, hey, guys, I'm leaving. So I'm not sure where he's going, if he's signed anywhere. I haven't seen that yet. Who knows if he wants to follow an old coach or an old quarterback or whatever, or maybe wants to just do his own thing. But I think we're in fairly good hands with what we have. And I maybe that was writing on the wall for him. I'm not sure. Me personally, not a huge fan of small wide receivers unless they're extremely, extremely special. There's some small wide receivers in the NFL that are extremely special with their speed, but there's not a lot of guys out there that are. You know what I'm saying? There's a few of them. I would rather have big-bodied, tall wide receivers that are bigger than maybe some of these corners and safeties that they're going to be playing against. So I'm more than happy to have some larger wide receivers, in my opinion.
Yeah, and one of those things that Gus talked about after the spring game is that it's really what he wants to have is not only depth but quality depth. He talked a lot about that. Guys that he defined that as guys that could be starters, and I think that in the wide receiver room and the running back room, we absolutely have that. And so while Jay Flash had a great season 2 years ago when under Heupel's offense, where he's just kind of running go routes and just outrunning people to the end zone, where Dylan Gabriel's just throwing him the deep balls. This is a different age. This is a different era. This is a different offense. And maybe he decided that it doesn't really fit his style very well. It's interesting, the timing of it. The way that Gus Malzahn talked about him after the game, and the way he featured him in the game, it kind of seemed like it was a surprise to him. Now, that's just speculation on my part. But so the timing of it was a little bit odd. But again, this is what we talked about with basketball. It's just kind of the new era that it's hard to get used to as people who have watched college sports for forever and ever. So that being said, I agree with you. We have a huge amount of talent in the wide receiver room, and I think we'll be just fine. And when it comes to Jalen Robinson, I'm just wish him well, and I think we've got enough horses in that stable to carry that torch. Yeah,
there were rumors last season, even at the beginning of the season, in the off season, that he was going to transfer. So it doesn't really shock me. I just. Yeah, it's kind of weird how the whole thing, the timing is the one thing that's kind of weird.
He had to graduate. That was the thing, because he'd already transferred from Oklahoma. So he had to be a grad transfer, and this gave him the opportunity. As far as who he's looking at, Ole Miss is a big player. Supposedly he was, not supposedly, on his IG, he was in a car with old Lane Kiffin. So that might be his landing spot, because that's the most recent place that he's been.
Okay. Interesting. I wouldn't think that he would be going back to Oklahoma. I mean, sometimes you can transfer from a place and go back, but if he was following Dylan Gabriel, did anybody hear how Dylan Gabriel did in their spring game by chance? I know that he was in it. Thought I saw somewhere. Yeah,
he was in it. He was playing for both teams, actually, the entire game. So he did fairly well. He had one interception. He was like 24 for 36 or something like that. He was definitely their featured quarterback. Some other quarterbacks got some play as well. But, he showed his arm. I watched some highlights on it. He still has that beautiful pass. But struggled a little bit after the first read. So he's still not over that, but he's in a new offense.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people that are in new offenses and new defenses and everything else. I saw that one of our former players is actually going to Michigan. So that's cool. We can talk really, really, really quickly about a transfer or a recruit.
Okay. So I'm going to blow through this real quick. Some really exciting news. We added Isaiah Nixon, 6'5", 226 defensive end, a 4-star. So that's our second 4-star defensive end in the 2023 class, alongside Kaven Call. He had offers from everywhere, every big school you can think of, Bama, Auburn, Florida, etc. He's really big about speed, persistent, tenacious, and physical. And we also added another quarterback, since we've been talking quarterbacks, Dylan Risk, top 100 quarterback from Cardinal Gibbons. So excited about him as well.
Awesome. All right, going to take a break, and when we come back, the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week.
I'm Jeff Allen. Join me each and every week on the Knightline Sports Network for the AAC Report. We bring you in-depth coverage of each school in football, basketball, baseball, softball, soccer, golf, tennis, and more, as well as bring you insider interviews and focus in on the biggest games and news of the week. That's all right here each week on the AAC Report, only on the Knightline Sports Network.
And now, back to Knightline at Night on WDBO 107.3 FM and AM 580. Call now at 844-580-9326.
All right, welcome back to Knightline at Night, live from the Dever Team Studios, brought to you by Chad Barlaw. Now is the time in our show where we do the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Welcome to the Tijuana Flats Hot Take of the Week. Visit TijuanaFlats.com for takeout or delivery, or visit your local Tijuana Flats. Tex-Mex for everyone. All right, everybody knows by now how much I love Tijuana Flats, and it's always been a source of information for UCF as well. The Tijuana Flats, restaurants and all that. It's kind of a long-going joke, but Tijuana Flats is absolutely awesome. I did not get to go there this week, so I'm kind of missing out. But I know that they have some new good stuff. I know that they had shrimp and all that recently. So I don't know. I don't even know what the special is. This is bad. Anyway, Tijuana Flats hot take of the week is a hot take segment because of their hot sauce bar. Roger, you want to go ahead with your Tijuana Flats hot take of the week?
Sure. A UCF owned, by the way, as well.
Absolutely.
So what I will say for this week's Tijuana Flats hot take of the week is UCF will finish with a top 35 recruiting class for 2023, currently sitting at number 20 with 6 commits.
All right. Ben.
I'm gonna go a little bit more current as far as we can find the results of this next week. But we got an upcoming series with UCF baseball against Tulane. Currently, UCF baseball is tied for first in the American Conference with Tulane and East Carolina. This is a huge series at home coming up Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm going to say that they're going to win that series. They're going to take control away from Tulane as the top team in the conference RPI wise right now is Tulane. And so I think that we're going to go ahead and take 2 out of 3 at least and win that series and kind of springboard into the rest of this season here.
All righty. All right. I'm going to go. This is a weird one. And I know that this is, I don't even know. I don't even know what, I think that the track season is just really getting started, the outdoor track, right? We just finished indoor track, right? I'm going to say Rihanna Jones is going to be the American champion in the 100-meter hurdles. And maybe NCAA champion, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's not too big of a hot take.
I know. I'm just trying to think of something. Because some of these I have no idea. So she finished second this week at Virginia LSU meet that they had, the LSU alumni gold meet. Virginia, but it was, I don't know. There's LSU and Virginia in this thing with the Knights. So did pretty well with that. She had a season best so far, 12.96 to finish second in the 100-meter hurdles in that one. Also ran the 4x1 relay, the opening slot on that. And it's good. So good stuff going on there. There's all kinds of stuff going on out at UCF in the next week or so. And you can listen to us. We'll have some updates on that coming up next week. Same time, same station. Go Knights.
Charge on.